Global governance, as its name implies, is a way in which global affairs are managed. Thus, global governance is thought to be an international process of consensus forming which generates guidelines and agreements that affect national governments and international corporations. Institutions, processes, conventions, formal agreements, and informal systems that regulate activities for the common benefits are referred to as global governance. Global governance comprises operations at the international, transnational, and regional levels that is based on rights and laws, enforced through a combination of economic and moral incentives. In its current conception, global governance implies democratic governance.
In its current conception, global governance implies democratic governance. However, the reliance on scientific and professional bodies to set standards, rules, and procedures on bureaucratic agencies of the state to implement policies and on voluntary organizations to monitor compliance, none of which are based on democratic principles of representation or equal participation, raises questions about the compatibility of democratic values and the concept of global governance.
Some of the effects of globalization in global governance includes poverty reduction. Many people argue that redefining GDP in terms of purchasing power would increase the voting weight of developing countries. Next is the human rights violation. Human beings are seldom able to enjoy the full extent of their rights. The implementation of human rights is a severe test to global governance, followed by the occurrence of civil conflict. The UN's minor role in recent international security measures has prompted calls for more legitimacy for the Security Council. And lastly, trade and investment disputes. The failure of commodity accords has heightened concerns about the over-dependence on commodity exports with falling relative prices.
The leading institution in charge of governance today is the United Nations, founded in 1945. In the wake of the Second World War, as a way to prevent future conflicts on that scale, sovereign nation states and currently counts 193 members who make recommendations to the UN General Assembly. United Nations, UN settle international legal issues through the International Court of Justice and implements its key decisions through the Secretariat led by the Secretary General. Other institutions with a global mandate are the Bretton Woods institutions, which consist of the World Bank and the IMF. Primary actors of global governance are states and intergovernmental organizations, market forces, civil society actors, multi-stakeholder institutions like the Internet Engineering Task Force and the World Wide Web Consortium.
Challenges of global governance. These are the issues that involves interwoven domestic and foreign challenges. Examples of challenges of global governance are coronavirus or other diseases, ISIS terrorists, genocide of Rohingya tribe, sovereignty crisis, pollution, climate change, and malnutrition. First path is depoliticization observed by form of delegating decision to independent experts. Second is rescaling of economic and social relations facilitated by transnational routes and international law. Third is capitalization of asset, transforming real asset into commodities, financial assets.
Examples of contemporary global governance. First is the financial market regulation through the Bank of Settlements. It serves as bank for member of central banks, and its role is to foster international monetary and financial stability. Central banks have primary task of pursuing price stability. They do by issuing different forms of money, putting and setting array of interest assets, and producing fiscal revenues. Next is the guidelines for multinational enterprises set by the Organization Economic Cooperation and Development. Multinational enterprises (OECD) guidelines are recommendations from governments to multinational enterprises on responsible business conduct.
Importance of global governance in the contemporary world. Effective global governance will allow us to end armed conflict, deal with new and emerging problems such as technological risks and automation. Global governance is a key to solving global problems. Without it, we may not be able to avoid weakest link existential risks or regulate new and dangerous technologies. Because of global governance, the state will see efficient processes, visibility in errors, reduced costs, smoother running operations, and conforming products in the market. The need for a strong global governance is high because all people seek to see these results. Global governance brings together diverse actors to coordinate collective action and to provide global public goods, particularly peace and security, justice, and mediation system for conflict.
And that would be the end for contemporary global governance.